the nature of grief has very much been with me in the last days. There's been a stronger invitation to be with, to contain, to stand feeling of what is happening to us on a collective scale now. And the fact that the stop that has happened to everyone's lives basically is an invitation into the bottom line, because that which people have used to keep going and to keep on turning themselves outwards very much has been robbed away in this time. So in many ways we have a situation here where we need to start dealing with and coming to terms with the nature of grief that is happening. And we need to do this in a somewhat quiet way. And the quiet way into that meeting with grief is that, for one, grief isn't a feeling, as a passing feeling, as much as it's an arrival of ourselves into that ground where we are not whole yet. So it's something with coming into that ground where we sense and we feel how much has been lost in terms of our own deeper connection with ourselves and with reality. Yeah, I find that there is much work for all of us to do, basically, in terms of becoming honest with this place in ourselves where there's room for the relaxation. And also, I also acknowledge, I recognize that there is a hardship involved with coming down, because there is a general lack of trust in life, in terms of meeting that grief truthfully and honestly, basically. But the more courageously we stand in the ability to embrace that ground and become honest in that ground, whether we know what's happening or not. I guess I just want to say that that ground of grief is a major part of life in this time. And the addiction to happiness as an attempt to reach that as an end point of some sort, or I can only say that the breath of life seems to go deeper into every alley of emotion that we can meet as a part of being alive here in this time, as a part of witnessing the effect and the losses of what's going on, the losses on our freedom, the losses on our perceived freedom, the losses of our way of life, the losses of our idea of or sense of security, the loss of our idea of a solid world picture in some sense. Yeah. Yeah, there is definitely grief to be met across the entirety of the human species in this time. And while it's I've been standing with this invitation for close to a decade now for for everyone, but somehow it's easier for people to kind of just look the other way or say, well, that's not for me or something, when life is offering like 200 other options. But really, in this time where we're all sent home, it's here we are, and there's very little to consider here now, And what really makes sense is to take the pieces of, I could almost say, advice that comes in meeting that ground, and also, if nothing else, then to take the invitation and the words that the grief is not forever. The loss of navigation and yeah, the loss of, well, the confusion around the whole coming down and what's happening and where is this coming from and all of this. Again, it doesn't last forever. And there is an intelligence inside of us, and a deeper knowing of that deep ground of wisdom that is awakening in us through it, and the love that is born through it, through meeting it honestly, that actually comes to life through our willingness to pass this and to basically return to our roots in many ways. Yeah.